What's good, Illini Nation? It's your man, Deon Thomas, here to kick it with one of the all-time greats on today's show. I don't even need to say his name because we all know who he is. I mean, I had someone tell me the other day when I put it up on my podcast that I was going to have him on. They was like, Deon, you know, we love you, but he's my favorite. No. I don't have a problem with that because he's one of my favorites as well, you know. And we're here today with all-time great Kendall Gill. Kendall, first of all, thank you for joining me, brother. I appreciate it.
No, thanks for having me, Deon. Anytime, man. Anytime you need me, just call.
All right, well, you know, I always need you. I needed you my freshman year, so I could have been on the floor with you guys for the rest of the
Yeah. We needed you.
I tell people, KG, that there's just a couple of things that really bothered me about that time. One was I thought that Coach Collins would have been the next head coach. And the biggest personal thing for me was the fact that I didn't get an opportunity to play with you guys. And if I'm on that floor, I think we're back in the Final Four. Am I wrong in that, though?
No, yeah, you're absolutely right. First, with you being on the floor, we're right back in the Final Four. I thought that, you know, with you, Marcus, Andy Petty as our front court, that, you know, that was one of the best front courts, even though you would have been a freshman in the country. I mean, I think that we really would have got back there and perhaps, who knows, maybe won a national championship. And, you know, with Coach Collins being the next head coach, I felt very strongly that had he been the next head coach after Coach Henson left, then we perhaps, you know, could have continued the pipeline that we had in the Chicagoland area and in the state of Illinois. Of course, we know Coach Collins is a master recruiter, recruited all of us. And, you know, once he didn't get the job, I think that the public league coaches really, that turned them off, you know, and they didn't want to send any more players down to U of I, which is what happened. I mean, the proof, it's fact, you know, and, you know, you can sense that in, you know, Derrick Rose not coming to Illinois, you know, many different players. You can go on down the line, Jabari Parker, Jaleel Okafor, many different players, you know, should have been, in my opinion, a lineup, but they weren't.
No, I agree with you 100%. And that was one of those things. You talk about high school. Let's go back to high school. Well, first of all, a lot of people don't realize you're from Chicago. You know, they see where you went to high school and they sleep on where you're from. And I bring that point up because, you know, you ask people where I'm from in Chicago, they always say, well, you're from the South Side. I'm like, no, I'm from the West Side. But people have this idea that we're not where we're from. So tell the people, where are you from in Chicago? What was your area?
I'm from I spent the first 10 years of my life on the south side of Chicago. 8218 South Sangamon was my address. I got my athletic start in Foster Park, played Little League there, played in the alleys, you know, played football in the alleys. And I was pegged to go to Leo High School because my grandmother lived on 79th and Sangamon, which is right across the street from Leo High School. Yep. And she wanted us to go there. You know, I really didn't want to go there because it was all boys school, but you know, that's where my parents and my grandmother had us pegged to go, my brothers and I, to high school. So, you know, that's really where I'm from. And then when I was 10 years old, we moved out to the south suburbs, and I ended up going to Ridge Central High School. And you're right, Deon, a lot of people say, oh, he's from the suburbs, but really I'm not.
No, they get it twisted, man. And they take that and they run with it because, you know, like I know, when CPS or people think about basketball, they think immediately of the city. They don't think about and I think they do, you know, especially this state, I think they do it a disservice. But you went out to Ridge Central, man, and I make this by preface and saying you did something at Ridge Central that nobody expected because it wasn't a city team that went downstate. It wasn't a Peoria team. It wasn't a team out of East St. Louis. Your senior year, you took Ridge Central, and I think it finished second, right, in the state?
Second, yeah. We lost to Marcus Liberty, and who's a fellow Illini in the state championship when he went to King. And actually, Deon, it was my fault that we lost. You know, and I didn't realize I didn't realize that we lost the state championship because I was playing the wrong defense the whole time. And I didn't realize it until like I was 25 years old.
Get out of here.
And I went and I replayed the tape and I called my brother and I was like, did you realize I was playing the wrong defense? I was a guy by the name of David Weatherall that played for King, was taking jump shots and making them the whole time when I was letting him do it when I actually shouldn't have. And it was my fault, but it was also kind of a coaching error too, because they should have realized that I wasn't in the right defense.
Right.
But that was the reason, because I let the guy shoot maybe 7 or 8 jump shots in the same spot when normally I would not have. So,
oh no, it's my fault. Definitely not. I mean, you're one of the best two-way players that I've seen play. And I don't think your defense gets enough of the credit because you were such a good offensive player. I mean, even at Illinois. I mean, everyone, and I love Steve, and I know you love Steve, but they talk about Steve's defense because he was normally a bigger guard defending smaller point guards. But they don't talk about what you did on the defensive end.
Yeah, I mean, that's really how I made my calling card, and that's how I got the attention of Coach Henson. Because as coming in, of course, all of you guys were like McDonald's All-Americans and everything like that. And I say this all the time. I was a Hell's Chicken All-American, so I had to so I had to get noticed some type of way, and the way to get noticed by Coach Henson is playing defense. And I was a really good defensive player in high school too. But when I got in college, I just carried that on into college. Having to guard Doug Altenberger, Tony Weisinger, Glenn Blackwell in practice, and even Nick Anderson in practice. You become good guarding those guys.
Oh, no doubt.
Because they if you don't, they're gonna embarrass you. So, that's how I was able to really come along defensively my freshman and sophomore years. And then, by the time I got to my junior year, defensively, I thought Steve Bardo and I were the best defensive backcourt in the country. I actually thought we were the best backcourt, period, but let alone defensively. So, because we had put in a lot of work, Deon, a lot of work.
Oh, I can believe that. I mean, I know playing for Coach Henson, you definitely put in work. And anybody that listens to us will know that same thing. Coach was a stickler for detail. He was a stickler for playing defense. I don't care who you were. If you didn't play defense, you weren't playing for Lou Henson.
No, you weren't. No, you weren't going to play. So you might as well just go ahead and go to another school or something, because you had to. I mean, that's the way you got noticed, you know, and because look, we all could score the basketball, but he knew that in the Big Ten you had to stop people, in order to win, and that's what the credo was, man, defense. So.
No, and he was 100% right on that. I'm sure you got a Lou Henson's defensive story. I'm gonna tell you one of mine, and you give me one of yours. So we're at practice, and he comes up to me and says, "Well, Deon, hey, you need to be a better defender." And I say, "Well, Coach, I'm one of the top shot blockers in the Big Ten."
Right.
He says, "Well, hey, that's exactly what I'm talking about. If you were a better defender, you wouldn't have to block so many shots."
I know. I know.
So I'm like, okay, Coach, I got you. Now I understand. And he took me out on the court after that and really, walked me through defensive positioning. He's like, if you don't let him get the ball, then you don't have to block so many shots. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm not as good a defender as I thought I was.
Yeah, I mean, Coach was, I have so many stories about him, but, the one thing, we were at Wisconsin one time, and we were practicing, and, I kind of missed a couple of defensive assignments, and, we played Wisconsin the next night. And then Coach, psychologically, he can motivate you without even yelling at you. And he says, hey, here's Kendall. He's probably one of the best athletes on the team, and he's letting these guys blow past him left and right. Now, if I was a great athlete like Kendall, no way anybody would blow past me. He says this in front of the whole team, in front of the coaches. Now, automatically, Deon, that's making me like, I can't let anybody blow past me anymore.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, master motivator, without even, I mean, he actually was giving me a compliment, but was getting on me at the same time.
Yep.
And that automatically triggered a response in me where, I started playing better defense, So,
well, and that was one of the things. I agree with you. He found his ways to push you.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike some of the other coaches in the big team, we don't need to mention any names that have to curse you out and put their hands on you and things of that nature. Coach knew how to get to you, get at you, and really dig in there if he had to without raising his voice an octave, man.
Yeah, he didn't. I mean, and got his point across like you would. I mean, and then you wouldn't realize it until after he had done it.
Exactly. Exactly.
He put the Jedi mind tricks on you, man.
So you guys, of course, you went through that 4 years at Illinois. Again, in my opinion, and I've told you this before. I know I'm the all-time leading scorer, but man, either between you or Nick are the best players that I've ever seen put on an orange and blue uniform, and I have no doubt saying that. What was your growth when you walked into that door as a freshman to when you walked out of there as an All-American your senior year? What was your mindset, and what did you have to do in order to make that happen for you and for the team in that case?
Yeah, well, thanks for the compliment, Deon. I appreciate that. But, I think Nick is the best player of all time, to ever put on a Illini uniform. But my mindset was that I had to work. Like I said, I wasn't a McDonald's All-American, and, I was low man on the totem pole. We had Larry Smith coming in, Steve Bardo, Marcus Liberty was coming the next year. Then we had Nick, Irvin Small. So all these highly touted guys. And then you got a skinny kid from Rich Central, and pretty good player, but nobody really expected me to grow as much as I did. But, I expected it because, that's how I had become a good player, but it's just by outworking everybody. So my mindset was that I don't care who the guys are, nobody's going to outwork me. And that's exactly each year. Freshman year, it didn't, I got a little bit better. Sophomore year, I got a little bit better. But the summer between my sophomore year and my junior year, that's when the progression really took hold. And that's when I really began to understand the game. That's when all of the work started you started to see the fruits of the labor, because I was starting to grow into my body. I grew another inch. I was 6'4", but then I became 6'5", and the shots started falling. I became stronger, but I still kept working, even though I got to that point. And then I can remember when I came back my junior year. We practiced at Huff Gymnasium, and I felt like I was the best player on the team. I had worked so hard, and I proved myself in the Prairie State games, and I practiced against all the rest of my teammates. I felt like I was the best player. I may not have been, that was probably Nick, but I felt like I was right there, and my confidence was at an all-time high. And of course, we went on to the Final Four and had a great year. But that's what my progression was. I mean, I just had a can't never say die attitude the whole time I was at Illinois. And I remember my teammate Irvin Small, who went to your school, Simeon.
Yeah.
Irvin used to say, you gotta work while the hoopers are asleep. But he never knew I was listening to him. He never knew, but I was listening to him. He used to say this from freshman year, sophomore year, junior year. And, I always used, even today, I hear Irvin's voice. When I'm out there working out and everything, you got to work when the hoopers are asleep. And I always remember that. And he never knew that quote motivated me,
Wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. That's one of the things that I miss from my freshman year not being on the floor with you guys is picking up tidbits like that.
Yeah.
Because that whole thing was just so crazy that I wasn't there most of the time, almost none of the time, to be honest.
Almost none of the time. Yeah. Which was terrible, man, because we wanted you around. We were looking forward to you coming. Okay. Nick left, which we were devastated by personally, because, not only was he our teammate, but he's like our brother. But then we had you coming in, and the whole thing. I mean, Deon, we had it all planned out.
Wow.
What we were going to do. And then we had to go through all of this, with you being away from the team and everything. So, what could have been, but, it all worked out.
Can't look back. You're right.
Yeah, can't look back.
But you said one thing in there. I just finished the book, Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, and you talked about work. So there's work, and then there's an opportunity. When they come together, it produces somebody like you, brother. Because I got to be honest, watching you guys when I was in high school or in my junior year was really what got me interested in coming to Illinois. And then come that Flying Illini team, man, I was blown away. I was like, ain't nowhere in the world I'm going nowhere else. I was like, these brothers flying up and down the court, dunking, and I think it was you or Steve that made comment of where the baggy shorts really came from. And, everybody else, even me in high school, had the little bitty shorts where your tights was longer than your shorts. But then you guys like flip that thing on its ear. It wasn't Michigan. It was Illinois first.
Yeah, and actually I asked, we knew we were getting new uniforms, and Coach Henson, asked us about it. I was like, Coach, can we have our shorts a little bit longer? Because, we didn't want to wear the real tight shorts and everything anymore. And, once we won, it became like a fashion statement, man. Everybody was like, and the thing is, they weren't really, really long. Like, how Michigan, the Fab Five, decided to wear the ones, which I thought were tacky, but, we wore them just a little bit longer than the ones that we had. But everybody thought that they were really baggy, but really they weren't when you go back and look at them.
Very true.
And I actually go back and I watch about one game a week of the Flying Illini. So after I get done working out, I go and I'll sit in my sauna downstairs, and I got a television down there, and I just watch whole games, man.
Wow.
And I'll tell you, I still get the same feeling that I had on game day back then. I still get the goosebumps and everything. Like when I see Kenny battle against Georgia Tech, come and dunk the basketball, or Nick hitting the last second shot in Indiana, or us beating Missouri, coming back from 18 down. And I'm reliving it. And it's and sometimes I even call my teammates. I was like, "Yeah, man." They think I'm crazy, but
no, they don't think you crazy. I'll tell you this, and I'm gonna be honest with you, because I wish I could find a lot of the games from when I played, but I just don't have a lot of them. And the one I just watched, well, I guess it wasn't just watched, a little while ago, was when we played LSU, and we beat Shaq and them down there. So I understand completely. I was sitting there. I got my girls. I'm yelling at them. I'm yelling. I was a bad call on the foul, and, and how they missed the foul. So I totally get it, man. I get it 100%. Walk me through the Final Four.
We go to the Final Four, and Coach has us staying way out in Bellevue. Not in Seattle with the rest of the teams. We really didn't like that. We were staying at the Red Lion Inn. I'll never forget it. And I think we kind of broke our rhythm, because when we went to Indianapolis, we were staying near the arena. When we went to Minneapolis, we were staying next to the arena. And then I felt like we should have been staying close to the arena. I didn't like to break rhythm, but we went all the way out to Bellevue, and the hotel was, you had to walk outside to get to your other teammates' rooms. We didn't have to do that, in other places. So we felt it felt kind of different to us.
Mm-hmm.
But then we go to the Final Four, and we're playing against Michigan and everything, and I look back at I couldn't watch that game until after I retired from the NBA. I didn't watch it because it just hurt that much that we lost to a team that we had handled twice during the season. And after I watched it, I called Steve Bardo, and I was like, we beat ourselves in this game. Michigan did. We beat ourselves because we were making mistakes that we don't normally make. Mm-hmm. Letting I can remember Mark Hughes driving all the way down the lane, nobody picking him up, and him going in to dunk the basketball. Yeah, Glenn Rice was high. Glenn Rice is a great player, but that shouldn't have even mattered. He was a great player the previous two games, and we still beat him.
Exactly.
We beat ourselves, and Steve disagrees with me on this, and maybe other players disagree with me on this. But I think that we maybe overlooked Michigan, seeing as that we beat them twice and everything. I was looking at Duke.
Right.
I was like, we're going to beat Michigan and we're going to play Duke in the national championship. And I think that Duke was looking at Illinois, and that's why they lost to Seton Hall. Mm-hmm. So it was bitter. It was a bitter pill to swallow, especially having the season that we had. We fully expected to win a national championship, and unfortunately, that didn't happen. And we still almost won the game. That shows you how good that team was. We had
and I agree with you 100%. I've watched that game many a times. I can't speak on if you look past them or anything like that, but I, haven't played as many years as I have, haven't coached as I did. I know that is a distinct possibility, especially when, like you said, you handled them twice throughout the year. It's a human tendency, I think, to do that. But what I loved about this team was you guys changed basketball. What you guys do now, or what you did then, is kind of a staple of the way they play now. It's positionless basketball. You got 5 guys that can handle, get up and down the court, run. Everybody's athletic. I mean, that's a lot of today's basketball. Don't you think?
Yeah, it is. And we had our positions, but they were so interchangeable. Mm-hmm. Like Nick Anderson and Kenny Battle could interchange places. So could Lowell Hamilton. You could slide Marcus Liberty in Lowell Hamilton's spot at center, but Marcus would be playing out on the perimeter. So it was positionless, and I think that's how we beat a lot of people, because we could pull that big man out and go inside, drive past them, and Kenny Battle and Nick Anderson at 6'6" could jump over most big men. 6'10", so it was a great team, man. And you say you've watched that game many times. I watched it twice. I watched it twice. I don't want to even watch it anymore.
Well, I probably wouldn't have watched it either if I had played it. Right. It was one of those things that I recognized, and I used it when I was coaching at Lewis and Clark. I would use some of the things that took place in that game as part of my video and coaching and things like that. And, like I know, it was a missed block shot that a missed box out that allowed for the tip in. And, I would use that clip really to just talk to my kids about playing every second you're on the court. Right. And I think that's what a lot of players forget to do. And I know I did when I was playing. You're watching the ball, you're doing some of these other things, and it only takes that one instance.
Only takes one. Yeah. So you got like you're absolutely right. You got to play the whole game all the way through. It reminds me of Any Given Sunday when Al Pacino says you got to add up all those inches.
Yeah.
And if you don't box out, that's an inch you lost.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right.
So you go on to have a good senior year. Mm-hmm. Didn't get as far as the team would have wanted to, of course, as we talked about earlier. But you turn out to be a consensus All-American. Mm-hmm. You go into the NBA in the lottery as the 5th pick to the Charlotte Hornets. How was that rookie transition for you?
It wasn't that tough. I had one tough day, and the one tough day was just like my freshman year, the first practice I had. I remember at Assembly Hall, Coach Henson at the end of practice. The practice was already hard, but at the end of practice, remember how he used to put 15 minutes on the clock and we used to have to run around?
Oh, yes.
That was so hard for me. I came back to my dorm room. I stayed at the Six Pack in Forbes, and I called my dad up. I said, "I'm not gonna make it. This is too hard, Dad. I can't take how physically strong these guys are and how fast they are. I can't do it." It was the same way in the pros. That first practice, I couldn't believe how fast Muggsy Bogues was. I couldn't believe how fast, Dale Curry released his shot and how strong these guys were. But I went off of my experience. And I'm saying to myself, this is the same thing that happened my freshman year in college. I just gotta adjust. And within a couple of days, I had adjusted to the speed and to the strength of the guys, And the other tough thing was being drafted by the Charlotte Hornets. They had Rex Chapman there, who was another two guard, played my position. Rex was my friend.
Yeah.
And I did not want to compete for the position with my friend, But, I came to the realization that, this is business and you still got to go ahead and play. And because, sometimes I wouldn't go as hard at Rex, and try, because I didn't want him to think that they drafted me to come in and take his place, And
that was actually the reality.
That was the reality of the situation.
The business is what the business is, boy.
Yeah, and then but halfway through the season, I just forgot about all that, and I went on ahead and did my job. But Rex and I are still friends today. So, and eventually they traded Rex to the Washington Bullets, but he's still my buddy today. But like you said, sometimes you can't have friends on that basketball court.
No, you can't. But you just said something. I want to go back just a little bit. You called your dad freshman year. What was the advice from your father that carried on that you remembered going into this competition with Rex Chapman?
Well, my dad said, you got to get through it. He's like, you went there for a reason, and it's not going to be easy. I can remember his words just like this. Nothing is easy. It's not going to be easy. What did you expect it to be?
Right. There you go.
And, I tell that to my sons to this day. You can't quit on anything. Anything worth having is not going to be easy to get, and that's exactly what happened in the pros. The first day, man, I was like, geez, man, and then I remember what my dad said, it's not going to be easy, son, it's carried on throughout my whole life. Nothing is easy, man. Even like, and you do radio for the Illini. I'm sure it wasn't easy when you first went in, to learn the craft and to learn how to do it. I do television for the Bulls now. It was not easy. It was tough, So that's a lifelong lesson, knowing that nothing is going to be easy. That's worth it.
Right, and you're 100% right. No, it wasn't easy. I mean, and thank God I had Brian Barnhart to kind of help you through those things. You know how it is, man. You need them vets. You need those vets to pull you along, and that's what he did for me. And I'm sure you've had that throughout your playing career, broadcasting career. You have those people that pull you on. So after rookie, you make the all-rookie team, and you really made a big jump from year one to year two.
Right.
So going into year two, we talk about mindsets because I think that's one of the things that's huge for people to understand, not just, because a lot of people look at what we do and they think it's easy.
Right.
They think we just get to where we get to. And I want people to understand the process. What was year one off season going into year two like for you?
I made the all rookie team and, I said, I got to build upon this, man. I got the right formula. I worked hard throughout my whole rookie year. I won the starting position halfway through my rookie year. This position is going to be mine. But I want to get better, just like I did at Illinois. I want to get better and I want to go on ahead. I want to improve my scoring average. I was looking at Reggie Miller. I was looking at MJ, you know, I was like, I can be amongst that class my second year, you know. And as a result, you know, I worked hard. I averaged 20-something points a game and, you know, four or five rebounds a game. So I really took a leap forward. And it was all based on just the hard work, you know, the hard work that I put in, and, you know, the franchise giving me an opportunity to display my talents and display the hard work that I put in. You know, Alan Bristow as coach really gave me a lot of freedom. Of course, we drafted Larry Johnson, and that was his rookie year. Playing with Larry allowed me, because Larry was so good and commanded double teams. Playing with Larry allowed me the freedom, you know, because a lot of people going double team Larry, leave me wide open. I don't know why he did, but that's what they did. But I loved it because Larry, just being on the court, made me a better player.
Right.
You know, and you know, I really appreciated that. You know, I had a great time my second year.
You know, and that's one of the great things I think people forget and don't understand about team sports. You know, because there's, you know, you hear in today's world where there's always chirping and things like that, but people don't understand team sports to me. And I pass this along to my daughters, because both of my girls had to play team sports, because it builds, one, the camaraderie, but it teaches you how to work with others. It teaches you how to take direction from coaches. And at the same time, you have to understand and learn where you fit in to make things work. Like you mentioned, LJ came in, people started double teaming him, but yet it helped to elevate you, which in turn elevates the team.
Right. It elevates the whole team. And, you know, not only me, but LJ made Dale Curry shot a lot more wide open. He gave a lot of freedom to Kenny Gaddis and Muggsy Bogues because of all of the attention that he garnered, man. I mean, LJ is the best player that I've ever played with. You know, because of, one, he's a great teammate. Two, he was unselfish. Three, he was talented beyond measure. I mean, you know, at 6'7", 250 pounds, if he had not hurt his back, Deon, he would have gone down as one of the greatest all-time power forwards of all time. You know, but unfortunately he hurt his back. But, you know, he was a huge difference maker, man. Yeah. You know, and when you have guys like that on our team, you would have been like that on our team your freshman year, because you would have garnered a lot of attention based on your ability to score down low, based on your ability to block shots, and based on your ability to pass the basketball out of double teams. That's all we were looking forward for you to come, because we knew you were going to make us better, you know. Right. And that's the same thing with Larry Johnson that I experienced, you know, my second year with the Hornets.
Yeah, man. I mean, and your second year with the Hornets was amazing. You had a tremendous career, period, 15 years. You know, I mean, there's a lot you learn in 15 years, and maybe I'm wrong in this. You're one of the few players that had a triple-double, and because you had it the other way. Normally people look at points, rebounds, and assists. You had points, rebounds, and steals to go along back to talk about that two-way playing.
Yeah, that was against the Miami Heat. And, you know, I set the single game record for steals in the game with 11. But believe it or not, Neon, I could have had 14. Here's the reason why. Walt Clyde Frazier, who's all-time great, played for the New York Knicks, taught me. He noticed that I could steal the basketball pretty well when I was a rookie. And then one day when we were in New York and we were playing, he said, "Listen, I see you going after the steals." He's like, "But this is a secret. Don't go after the first couple of steals at the beginning of the game. The reason why is because when you need a steal at the end of the game, those players are going to throw the same pass, and you're going to be able to steal it at that point." He's like, "So don't always go for it, because you're going to shut the door to it, you know, when you really need one." So in that Miami Heat game, I actually let 2 or 3 steals go by me.
Wow.
when I could have got them, you know, and I just let them go, you know. But, you know, and then, I mean, because really it probably would have been 14.
Wow.
And I let 3 go. So,
well, first of all, that's a great story, because you're right. Walt Frazier is one of the absolute best ever to play this game, and to be able to get a lesson. This goes back to what I was talking about, having the old heads that can give you some information. Yeah. Being able to learn that from Walt Frazier is I'm in awe because he was like one of my favorite players that I've watched on video. Let me say that because, of course, I was too young.
Yeah, yeah. He was right because there's so many times throughout my career when I needed a steal, I would get them because I let the first couple go, and they would throw the pass. And also he taught me the best time to steal a basketball is when a big man has it and he's reversing it from strong side to weak side. Right. Because back then, all big men were programmed to just swing the ball and go down in the post. Now, not so much because big men play out on the perimeter.
That's true.
They shoot 3-point shots. But back then, in my day, the guys would just throw the ball right to me if they were like a power forward or a center. They throw it right in my hands when I needed it.
Robots, being robots.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
You put together 15 long, great years. You had playoff runs, of course, all rookie team, triple-double, as we talked about. Retirement comes. Mm-hmm. Because I know how mine was. I had battled through some injuries. I had come to a point where I was like, first of all, I was older than my coach.
It's time to retire.
Oh man, I was like, okay, it's time to walk away from this. What was your thought process going into that last year, and then how did it feel afterwards?
I remember I was with the Milwaukee Bucks, and I was playing really well actually, but they made a decision to release me because they said, "Listen, Kendall." They brought me in. They said, "Kendall, we're not going to the playoffs. You're a veteran, and we don't want to pay a veterans minimum. We're only willing to go this far because if we go past January, I believe it was January 20th, we have to guarantee the contract. And since we're not going to playoffs, we don't want to pay the money, basically." And I was like, "Okay, I understand that." So I went home. And then the San Antonio Spurs called me, and Deon, they called me and then they said, "Listen, Kendall, we want you to come." And I was interested, but they said, we're not going to guarantee the contract for the rest of the season. And then I was like, "Listen, I've been in the league 15 years. You guys know what I can do. I can help you. I was just guarantee the contract and I'll come." Well, they said, "No, we can't guarantee the contract." So then 3 days later, they called me back. They're like, "Kendall, we want you to come down." I was like, "Have you guaranteed the contract yet?" They're like, "No." So then I said, "Well, I can't come." Then they waited another day and called me back the third time and asked me again. And they said, "Well, Popovich believes in you and everything." I'm like, "I know." I was like, "Yeah, I really want to come. I think this will work." I was like, "But just guarantee the next 3 months. It's not that big of a deal." Right. But they wouldn't do it. So I retired.
Wow.
And guess what? They ended up winning the championship that year.
The nature of the business, baby. The nature
oh my
of the
God.
business.
I was like, boy, they ended up winning the championship. So, but when I retired, I was not done physically, but I was done mentally. I was burned out. Playing basketball every year ever since you're 10 years old. And you know how it is. You get into a routine and it's every year you battle through all of the injuries. I wasn't tired physically, but mentally I was really tired. And I just really didn't want to do it anymore. Because had I wanted to do it still, I would have gone ahead to San Antonio. I was like, "Don't worry about it. I'll earn the contract." But, I was tired of the grind mentally. So that's why I retired.
I completely understand that, man, because that was kind of the same thing with me. Well, I joked about being older than the coach, and that was actually true.
Yeah.
But I was still playing well. But like you, I was like, okay, I had pushed off going over that season. I pushed it off to its very last day that I could get over there just because I didn't want to have to go through training camp. I didn't want to have to deal with all of that other stuff. So I completely understand. And I understand how when you do retire, physically you're good, but mentally you're not. So talk a little bit about when you finished, because you went into boxing. I mean, you of course now in television, as well as we're going to get into 60-40. I want you to tell us about that. But let's start with the boxing, man. When I first heard Kendall Gill was boxing, I was like, what? I'm like, huh? Kendall boxing? But you got some moves there, baby. That jab was nice.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks. Well, I ended up having 4 pro fights. And, you know, I used to box when I was a kid on 83rd and Racine. My parents used to send us to a day camp there, and they had boxing there. And I really took, and that's where I learned. That's where I learned about bullies. Actually, there was this guy there. You know, used to walk around with a scowl, and everybody was scared of him. Big kid, and never used to smile. But then one day they gave us the boxing gloves, and they matched them up with me, and I'm like, oh my god, no. Kid gonna kill me. I was scared, knees shaking and everything, you know. And then they put us in the ring, and then they ring the bell. You know, we had headgear on and everything, little kids and everything. But when I got in there, I was so scared. But after the kid hit me with the first punch, all of that went away, you know. And then all of a sudden, I started fighting back and everything, and you know, I ended up beating the kid up pretty good. And I saw a bully be deflated, you know, and that's where I learned how to deal with bullies, you know. And then, you know, I gradually began to get better at it and better at it. And then what happens? My parents moved us to the suburbs, so there was no more boxing for me to do, because you know, kids out in the suburbs, they go to country club, play tennis, they don't box.
Playing golf, soccer, they don't box.
they don't box. So what happened was I always stayed in touch with the sport, you know, and then midway through my pro career, I started studying jiu-jitsu. I studied jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai boxing for 6 years. And then when I retired, I said, you know what? I want to go and realize my dream of becoming a professional boxer. And I began training, and you know, I had 4 fights, and you know, it was grueling, because when you just like the first practice as a collegian, the first practice as a pro, when I went in there, those guys were not taking it easy on me, because they were like, this basketball player thinks he's going to come into our gym and think that he can do it. No, they made it hard for me, man. You know, and just like my dad said, what do you think, this is going to be hard? This is going to be easy, rather? You know, I had the same mindset, and I had to earn my stripes in there. You know, I had to get beat up, you know, and I had to take the punishment. I had to take the training. But, you know, eventually they began to respect me, and, you know, I became better and better and better at it. And, I'm glad that I did it, because that was on my bucket list of things to do.
Well, I tell you, bro, I saw your workouts. And I saw what you looked with your shirt off. I'm like, okay, this dude still look like he about 25 years old, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Hey, I don't feel like that, but I think
so it worked. So what prompted the move into broadcast?
Well, I did a little studying of broadcasting when I was at U of I. You know, I took a couple journalism classes, and I liked it. Had no idea that this is what I was going to do, you know, after I retired. But the Comcast Sportsnet, which is what it was known back then, now we're NBC Sports Chicago. But they asked me to come in and you know, do like a show with Mark Shanowski, and you know, I didn't know that I was being interviewed at the time. They put me on and asked me all these questions about the Bulls, and asked me some questions about the NBA, and I had no idea that this was an audition tape.
Yeah.
But I guess I did pretty well, and they offered me a job, and you know, that's where it took off from there. And you know, I've done things with NBA TV. I have also moved into doing boxing on television. I did the Manny Pacquiao Keith Thurman fight, Regis Prograis, Nonito Donaire last summer. So, you know, I don't want my broadcasting to just be exclusively basketball, because of my love for boxing. I can do that as well. So, it's turned out pretty well for me. And, I want to keep doing it, as long as I can.
I got to say, as one boxing fan, I'm not a boxer, but I'm a boxing fan. I love boxing, always have. Mm-hmm. All right, we got Bud Crawford, who's my favorite boxer right now. Love him to death, and I'm hoping that he'll get this upcoming fight with Errol Spence Jr.
Yeah,
well, if Errol gets past Danny Garcia, which I think he will. But that's the next mega fight, right?
That is the next mega fight. Everybody wants to see that fight. Errol Spence coming off of a horrific car accident last year. I don't know how he survived that, but I'm glad that he did. Fights Danny Garcia, I believe, is December 2nd. His first fight back. But I just saw his open workout Friday, man. He looks better than he ever has. And I respect Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia is no pushover, two-time world champion. But I think that Errol has something to prove and that he really wants that fight with Terrence Bud Crawford. Now, here's the thing about Crawford. Crawford's a great fighter, but he has not fought a top-level fighter in the welterweight division yet. And a couple weeks ago, he beat Kell Brook, who's a former champion, but Kell Brook is kind of shop-worn. He went up and fought Triple G at middleweight, then he got his eye orbit broken, then he came back down to 147 welterweight and fought Errol Spence Jr. and got his other eye socket broken. I think after that happens, Deon, your punch resistance is a little weak.
Goes down a little bit.
Goes down a little bit. But that's how Terrence Crawford like dazed him with a jab.
With a jab, yeah.
With a jab. I mean, and for all the people that don't know boxing, when you're coming forward and a punch meets you at the same time, that's double the impact. Mm-hmm. And it has a tremendous effect on you. So that's why Kell Brook being an elite fighter, if he was in his prime, should have been able to take that punch, but he was not. So, that's the question that Terrence Crawford has to answer. Can he defeat an elite fighter in the welterweight division?
Well, we will see, I hope.
Yeah, we will.
So, 60-40. Give me the breakdown, not just me. Give us the breakdown of 60-40 because I've watched some of the clips that you've posted. I've watched people that for sure are older than me out there, and they're getting their thing in. And I saw you actually pulled your wife out there, bro.
Yeah. Well, she didn't want to do it, originally. But let me tell you, the movement became so big that, we ended up with something like near 150 members.
Wow.
This summer. And it all started from two guys doing it, myself and Ian Mahoney. When the pandemic started on March 11th, we started meeting every day doing the 60-40 workout. Now, the 60-40 workout is a workout that originated in Memorial Stadium at Illinois with the Flying Illini.
Get out of here.
Yes, and it was started or shown to us by Professor James Anderson and Hakeem Muhammad, who just recently passed away last year. Yeah, he's a great guy. They were sort of our mentors. Worked with us in the summertime, and they showed us how to run, and we just started calling it the 60-40 workout. And what you do is you sprint 60 yards, and then you jog 40, touch the goal line, and do it again. Now, down is 1, back is 2. You start off with 20 a day, then each day you add on 1, and you add on 1 a day until you reach 45. When you get to 45, you take off 1 per day until you get back down to 20. That's called running the cycle. Now, what I did was I took that workout and I put calisthenics with it as well that I learned when I was boxing. And, I combined the two, and it's called the 60-40 workout. All of our members on average lose between 15 and 25 pounds, but a lot of people lose between 30, 40, 50 pounds.
Wow.
And the workout, Deon, only takes 45 minutes. That's why people love it so much. Yeah, you work your butt off while you're there, but it's not like being in the gym 3 and 4 hours. That's why people love it, because they're like, I'm getting all these results and I don't have to stay in the gym for 3 or 4 hours. Well, yeah, you're right, because you're doing it the right way. You're doing what pros do, actually. So,
there you go.
So yeah, and this is why so many people are attracted to the workout and why they love it. You know, and they come out at we start at 5 o'clock in the morning. We're out. Everybody's done by 8. I'm not out there by 8 o'clock. If you're not out there at 5, between 5 and 8, then you miss it. You know, because we like to get done, and then people love it also because they're like, man, I did my workout and I have the rest of the day to myself. I don't have to think about anything.
Yeah.
You know? And it's really taking off. We have a 60-40 club LA, we have a 60-40 club Oakland, we have a 60-40 club New York, a 60-40 club Seattle, a 60-40 club Dallas. So all of the people that do the workout, they absolutely love it. No weights needed. You just need you in a football field.
So everything is body weight?
Everything is body weight. We don't, and you know, at our age, Deon, I don't know about you, but I don't want to lift any more weights.
Oh no, you and me both.
hey, too hard on the joints, man.
Agreed.
You know?
Agreed. 100%.
Yeah. And that's another reason why the people love it too, because they don't have to lift weights. It's all body weight exercises, and you still get the same muscularity that you would had you lifted weights. You know, and we do Hindu squats, Hindu push-ups, Hindu sit-ups, hold a back bridge, and do a plank. And the exercises are based off of the movements of chimpanzees, believe it or not.
Wow.
Chimpanzees are 6 times stronger than men.
True.
Okay. So there was a guy who did this study, and he studied chimpanzees and their movements for like 3 or 4 years. And the movements that are in the 60-40 workout are the movements that these chimpanzees do. That's why you see a lot of our participants gain the lean muscle mass that they have. And, you know, their bodies are like totally transformed. Simply just by running, sprinting, and doing these exercises.
Wow. Well, as I said before, I'm coming out, big fella.
All right.
I'm coming out.
I look forward to it.
I will be at least one. I'll say this, and I know I'm gonna get addicted and be at others. The part is, I live in Naperville, and you all in the city, so that's like a 40-minute drive just to get to you.
But so this is what I tell people: come and do the workout with us a couple times. Once you come a couple times, you'll know what to do. Mm-hmm. Then you can go back to Naperville and
maybe
find
kick
your football
off 60-40 Naperville.
Yeah, you kick off with 60-40 Naperville, because I've had a lot of people come. Like I had a group come from Romeoville to learn how to do it. They learned how to do it, and they took their group, which was about 4 or 5 people, went back to Romeoville, and they completed the cycle. You know, and you know, it works for people, but you got to come and be amongst the main group first, so that you can really figure out how to do it and see what it takes and see the intensity that we do it with, so that you can go take it back to wherever you live and do it yourself.
Hey, well, that sounds good. Like you said, what's worth having ain't easy, baby.
It ain't easy, man. It is not easy. Yeah.
Hey. Well, Kendall, man, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. One of the all-time greats at the University of Illinois. And when I ran down that little resume, I forgot to put that you were 2018 Hall of Famer at the University of Illinois, too. Much love and respect.
You, all right. Well, from one Hall of Famer to another, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Right,
well, Kendall, I appreciate you, brother, for coming on and joining me and taking time to do the pod. I know the Illini Nation is going to love it. So I have to say this in the meantime. We're going to sign off, but Illini Nation, check out the podcast on, Champaign on Ice on the Field of 68 Media Network. You can find this wherever you get your podcast, on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Do not hesitate on rating, liking, of course, as well as subscribing to the podcast. KG, appreciate you. Got one last word you want to hand out to Illini Nation?
Yeah, just saying, recognizing our great coach, Lou Henson, who passed away earlier this summer. Also, our prayers to our coach, Jimmy Collins, who's had some health challenges recently, and to Coach Nagy, who's had some health challenges as well. So just want to let the Illini Nation know to think about those guys, and if you can, send out a prayer to them.
All right, KG, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for everything, and go Illini.